All right, folks, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to smoke 4 racks of beef ribs. They're also known as plate ribs, short ribs. There's different names for them, but these are the big, thick beef ribs. And to me, there's nothing better off the smoker when you cook them, right. And they're very hard to mess up. So that's the one good thing about them. They're so full of fat and they're so forgiving that they're really hard to mess up. So, as you know, I always film this part afterwards, after I'm done shooting everything else, to make sure if something goes wrong or if I need to explain something, I can put it in the intro. But the video is self-explanatory, but you will see that there was some obstacles to overcome. And so the main thing is, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Don't get hung up on that something has to be a certain way, especially when it comes to barbecue. You're going to have things mess up on you, but just keep plugging away, keep trying different things until you get it where you want it to be. And anyway, you'll see in the video what went on, and I hope you enjoy it, and let's get to it. All right, folks, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with these things. I'll open them up here in a minute, but these are they call them dino ribs, or they're actually short ribs if you went to a restaurant, but about 9 pounds, a little over 9 pounds. So what I'm going to do is open them up. There's not a lot of work you do to them, but I'll show you that. These are pretty easy. This is probably, in my opinion, this is to me the best barbecue that you can make. This is my favorite of everything on the smoker, and I feel like, to me, it's one of the easiest ones to do. That it's pretty hard to mess it up. But anyway, I'll show you what I'll do with them, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 part of 16 mesh black pepper, a half a part of cayenne pepper. No, I'm sorry, Cajun seasoning. Sorry about that, Cajun seasoning, and a half a part of sea salt. And you can use kosher salt if you want. I just like sea salt. So 1 part black pepper, 16 mesh, half a part Cajun seasoning, half a part of sea salt. And then what I'll do is I'll pour them in this old rub bottle, empty bottle. I'll save my rub bottles. I'm going to pour them all in there, shake it up, and that's what we're going to season this with. And then when I go to season it, what I'll do is I'll use a binder. I'll use a Worcestershire sauce. So it's real simple. So let me open these up and see what we're working with here. They're just USDA choice. And these are, so there's 4 ribs, 4 of these ribs in here. I got these at the Restaurant Depot. No, I don't know what everybody has in their area, but, and believe it or not, these were, so they're $57 for all 4 of these. And it's, people think they're expensive, but in reality, I think they're expensive if you go out and buy them at a barbecue place, because they have to charge a lot of money for them. But if you get, each one of these bones is going to be enough for a meal for most people. So the way I look at it, you're getting 12, you could feed 12 people for $57. I mean, that's pretty cheap. I don't know what that comes out to a person, but it's pretty cheap. So all I'm going to do to get them ready, so these have a membrane on the back, just like a pork rib, but I leave it on. Most people leave it on because we're going to cook these so they're so tender. If you take that off, I think they'll fall apart. And it's a rule of thumb for most barbecue people, they'll leave that membrane on there. And then the only thing I do with them is just any piece of loose meat that looks like that it might burn while it's cooking and put a bad flavor. But I'll leave this fat on here so you got the bottoms protected by the membrane. The top, I like the fat. I mean, there's nothing crazy on it. If it was something really bad, I would take it off. Like, you don't want a piece of fat that is an inch thick or anything. But so this one, I might just take the end off like that. I mean, these are pretty nice. So these are technically not the dino rib, but I still call them that because there's 4 bones. The dino rib actually has 3 bones. So these are just short ribs, but yeah, it's a little bit different. The dino ribs are bigger than this, but I still think you could feed 12 people with this. And we'll see when they're done. And I have a company coming over for dinner tomorrow, and what I'm going to do is I just worked all week. It's Saturday night. I was planning on cooking these tomorrow, but now they're calling for like 90% chance of torrential rain all day. So, you know, it's now 6 o'clock on Saturday night, and I'm going to try to get them done tonight before the rain comes in. And so anyway, I'll just do one of these. All I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put some Worcestershire sauce as a binder, and I'm gonna mix that rub up that I showed you. I'm gonna put the rub on them, and I'm gonna put them on the smoker. So I have the Weber Smoky Mountain lit up already. It's getting hot. I'm gonna put 2 on the bottom rack, 2 on the top rack. I'll probably cook them for a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours, until I like the color and the bark. And then what I'll do is I'll wrap them in foil, and I'll put a little bit of beef broth, maybe about 6 or 8 ounces of beef broth inside the aluminum foil, so that we can get that braising effect, like if you were braising them like at a restaurant. And we'll just get them real tender, and I'll show you at that point when we cut them up what they look like. But yeah, these are really easy. So let me get them. Let me get the seasoning on them and get them on the smoker, and I'll just show you what they look like at that point. All right, folks, so I got them on the smoker, got them on the Smoky Mountain. I thought I was going to have to use both racks, both levels, but they actually fit on the one level. So that's a little nicer for me. But how I have this set up, I'm just using Kingsford charcoal. I don't have any wood on it. I don't know, I think the charcoal gives it plenty of smoke, honestly. But what I do is I have the water pan under there, which is right over the fire. I don't put any water in it, so that when the drippings start to drip, it will hit that hot metal pan and make some smoke and steam, and you sort of use its own fat to smoke it and flavor it. So and anyway, that's what they look like. They're on the smoker. So I'll probably come out here in about an hour and a half, and I'll have a spray bottle, probably with some of the beef broth that I'm going to wrap them in later. And I'll probably, if it needs it, I'll mist it down just to keep it from drying out, and I'll use the beef broth. So anyway, that's it. We will come back out and take a look at it in about an hour and a half. See you then. All right, folks, so this is the thing about barbecue. This is crazy. But I didn't get to bring you back to the smoker to spritz or anything because I couldn't keep the temperature down. I don't know why. And the smoker ran way too hot. It probably ran at like 350. And believe it or not, this is these ribs are at 190 degrees internal, all four of them. And they've only been on the smoker for about an hour and a half. When I went out, I was going to check them to see if they needed spritzing. Evidently, I didn't put my digital thermometer. I just used the gauge on the smoker, and it must be way off. But anyway, this is one of the things that happens when you're barbecuing. So things don't always go perfectly, but these still look nice, and they're really soft. The rub's pretty set. So I'm going to change it up. I'm going to change my plans now because they can't cook this fast. I don't know. They can't. They have to tenderize a little more, and a lot of the tissue and all inside there needs to break down. It needs time. That's just way too fast. So what I'm going to do, I put these in these tins, and I'm going to put about a half inch of beef broth in each one. I'm going to put lids on them. I actually have the foil lids that are made for these, and I'm going to put them in the oven in the house on probably about 225 in that area. And I'm just going to let them slowly render, let them get really tender, and probably leave them in there for 3 or 4 hours or more. Um, but I feel like that's what I got to do. If I leave them out there any longer, they're going to dry out. They're not going to be the right kind of tender. I want these things just falling apart. So anyway, that's what happens a lot when you're barbecuing or cooking, or sometimes you have to make adjustments on the fly, and just make the adjustment. The bottom line is, how does it turn out, and how does it taste, and how does your dinner turn out when your company shows up? And I'm still confident these are going to be really, really good. So I'll put the beef broth in, cover them, and put them in the oven and then I'll let them rest, and we'll come back when it's time to carve them. All right, folks. So here we are. We're back the next day. I ended up. You saw what I did. I put these in the tins with the beef broth, and I put them back in the oven. I put them in the indoor oven in my house for about another 5 hours on 225, and just let them braise. So I mean, they're really soft and tender. So we're going to cut them up now and see what happens. But as long as my knife isn't dull, we should be fine. All right. And that's what they look like. Um, I mean, these are tender. You can just tell. I mean, you can feel it. They're like butter. Um, so that's what I ended up doing. So the main thing is these are really easy to cook. So they have so much fat in them, it's almost hard to mess them up. I do think if I would have left them out on that smoker, as hot as it was running, and I couldn't get the temperature down, I think they possibly could have dried out a little. But I mean, these things look really nice. And I mean, for most people, oops, yeah, see, the knife always gets me. Um, that's a nice knife too. But yeah, see, it's just falling apart. But yeah, these are really easy to cook. You can see all the fat in there. And another thing is just to remember, if when you're cooking, especially barbecue, if something goes wrong, I mean, there's really no total correct way to do anything when it comes to barbecue. Just the smoker's too hot, get it off the smoker. Don't let it burn. You know, if something's done, say you're cooking something and it's supposed to take 8 hours, and 5 hours in, it's as soft as you want it, it's tender as you want it. The probe is reading the correct temperature. It's done. There's no, you know, one of the best things I ever learned about barbecue is when somebody said, "How long does it take to cook something?" And the answer was, "When it's done, it's done." So a rule of thumb might be that for most people that these take 8 hours. They've always cooked in 5 for me, and these things were actually only on the smoker for an hour and a half, and they're still smoke ring. And then I finished them in the oven inside. But anyway, try these out. And again, look at this, 56 bucks. I mean, honestly, okay, depending on how big of eaters people are, you might not be able to feed 12 with these, but you could feed 8, no problem. Even if you gave 2, 4, 1, 2, yeah, 8 people, and each person got 2 bones. I mean, that's a lot of meat. So that's pretty cheap for $57 and to come out with a product like this. So anyway, that's that. And I am going to do a video down the road where I actually do get the real dino ribs. Like I said, these aren't dino ribs. They're just plain old short ribs. But the dino ribs are a lot thicker. They're from higher up, I think, on the cow. I'm not exactly sure. I just know they're bigger and there's only 3 bones instead of 4. But let me just take a bite out of this. Hmm, it fell right off. So that is tender, and the flavor is good. You have a dog; they love these. So anyway, that's that. Hope everybody enjoyed this, and we'll see you next time.
Okay. No, every piece has to have one, otherwise you're not getting all the